Suburban Cablevision presents the TV3 Action Arena, bringing you the finest in local sports programming.
It's state championship hockey on Suburban Cablevision TV3 tonight. From South Mountain Arena in West Orange, it's Livingston versus West Essex for the NJSIAA title. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Lee, TV3 Sports. Along with me, Scott Miller from UA Columbia Television. A joint production tonight, and we gather to watch the state championship, the second time that they've contested it. For the one best hockey team in New Jersey, it comes down to a pair of Essex County teams.
These two teams have each played 2 games to get here tonight in this tournament. Monday night, West Essex played Christian Brothers Academy, and it was a close one. West Essex winning 7-6. Livingston had a little bit easier time with Don Bosco Prep. They won 8-5. Then on Wednesday night in the semifinals, West Essex had to go to overtime to beat Chatham Township by the score of 7-6. Dave Fashing scored the game in 1 minute into the overtime. West Essex was ahead in that game 4-1, but Chatham came back to knot it and sent it into overtime.
Well, these two teams have met a number of times throughout the season, Scott, and it seems that West Essex has had the better of that series throughout the year.
That's true. West Essex has won twice. Livingston has won once, and they've had 2 ties. West Essex is a little bit more of an offensive-minded team. They score a lot of goals. Livingston is a little bit more defensive-minded. In the game Wednesday night that Livingston played against Brick Township, goaltender Jim Measday had 43 saves.
Of course, Livingston last year won the Gordon Cup, lost out to Brick in the first annual state hockey tournament the next night after they contested the Gordon Cup. Of course, this past year, Seton Hall Prep took the Gordon Cup. They are not here in the state finals. And perhaps for a few people who may be watching one of their first high school hockey games, a few reminders about some of the differences that people may be used to be watching professional hockey, just a few of the variations we'll have tonight.
Well, for the most part, these teams play NCAA rules, which means that you see the red line out there, you can ignore it. 2 line passes are allowed. Icing is automatic, and it only occurs when you shoot the puck from inside your own defensive zone. In addition, the international crease is used. It's a little bit bigger, it's a semicircle, and that's done to protect the goaltender. In addition, the progressive disqualification rule is in effect tonight. On the second major that a player incurs, he'll get a 10-minute misconduct. In the third major, he'll get a game misconduct. The periods are 15 minutes long, and the penalties are 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Things are scaled down just a little bit, and we'll be back with the opening face-off, the state championship in ice hockey, Livingston versus West Essex, right after this word on Suburban Cablevision TV3. And we're just a few minutes away from the opening face-off. Very shortly we'll have the introductions of both squads, Livingston and their West Essex. The Knights coached by Jeff Robbins. Coming into this game, 18 victories, 6 defeats, and 3 losses. The second annual New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association Hockey Tournament. Livingston 11-9-3. Ed Purdy, second-year coach, former coach at West Essex. He's second year now at Livingston. The officials on your left, Joe Hanneback on your right, Paul McGinnis. And a good crowd on out here at South Mountain for the second annual ice hockey tournament. Of course, if you watched last week, we saw Seton Hall and Brick square off in the final game of the Gordon Cup. Seton Hall came away with the trophy. And now let's pick up the starting lineups and the squads for tonight's game.
Number 3, starting left defense, Brian Simmons. Number 4, Tom Schwartz. Number 6, starting right defense, Randy Fartelman. Number 7, Evan Miles. Number 8, Dennis Maloney. Number 9, starting left wing, Rich McLaughlin. Number 10, Brian Tracy. Number 11, Bill Grum. Number 12, Stan Grabowski. Number 16, starting center, Mark Levine. Number 17, Carl Shalia. Number 18, Kevin Kelly. Number 19, starting right wing, John Beatrice. Number 20, Scott Whitman. Number 21, Tony Tracy. Number 23, Jim Lorenz. Number 25, Jim Mayer. Number 26, Gary Gill. Coach of Livingston, Mr. Ed Purdy.
And the Livingston Lancer Hockey Club, 11, 9, and 3. Now West Essex.
Number 1, Jeff Campbell. Number 3, Randy McAdam. Number 4, Tim McIntosh. Number 5, Pete Brennan. Number 6, Phil Sorella. Number 7, starting left wing, Tom Foley. Number 8, Ken Smith. Number 9, starting center, Chip Grabowski. Number 10, Cameron Lahead. Number 11, starting right wing, Mike McGinnis. Number 14, starting left defense, Keith Wright. Number 15, Jim Patterson. Number 16, John Gates. Number 17, starting right defense, Tom Cullum. Number 18, Augie Delappy. Number 19, Scott Barnett. Number 20, Dave Fashing. Number 21, Doug Campbell. Number 24, starting goaltender, Brian Taylor.
And the introduction of West Essex. They are coached by Jeff Robbins. And at first blush, Scott, I think West Essex has much the advantage as far as fan support is concerned tonight.
However, if you believe in omens on this St. Patrick's Day, you'll notice Livingston College is clad in green.
And now our national anthem. State championship of ice hockey for New Jersey. Livingston, and as you said, Scott, they are retired in the green here on St. Patty's Day against West Essex in their white and red. Ed Purdy, the head coach of Livingston High School. Last year, as we said, Livingston took the Gordon Cup. They were the finalists to Brick, which took the first annual state hockey tournament last year.
As I mentioned in the opening, Bob, these teams have slightly different styles. I look for West Essex to put on a little bit more offensive pressure on Livingston goaltender Jim Measday. I watched Measday very closely in warm-up, and he impressed me quite a bit. He's a stand-up goaltender, likes to stay on his skates, looks like to be a pretty good skater.
Over on the other side of the ice, Brian Taylor for West Essex looks to go down a little bit more, maybe not quite as good a skater. But we were in the Livingston locker room earlier tonight, and they said that the kid must be a pretty good goaltender to get West Essex this far.
And here they are in the finals, as are the Lancers. It'll be Jim Measday starting in goal for Livingston, and there goes West Essex out of their huddle. They'll be starting Brian Taylor in goal with Keith Wright on defense with Tom Kellum, and with Grabowski centering for Foley and McGinnis. And there was Brian Taylor. He's a senior. Having a few words there with Tom Kellum, who plays defense. At center ice, Paul McGinnis will drop the puck. And there is Jim Measday. Farnelman and Simons will be his defense protectors for the first shift of tonight's game. Levine in the green of Livingston, Grabowski in the white for the Knights, and the state hockey tournament is underway. The championship game, Wright chasing in his own end with Levine on him, and they started out the Knights two out of their own zone. Foley, but the Lancers take it right back. We play 15-minute periods in high school hockey. This is Chip Grabowski circling at his own blue line and starting it back for West Essex, just underway. 3-on-2 if he can get past, but he couldn't get past Simons. And Lancers clear it back down. Into the Lancer zone as Fartleman chases for it with Grabowski checking. Over comes McGinnis. Just underway from South Mountain Arena. Grabowski, who can dominate a game. He has 26 goals, 20 assists for 46 points on the year. Fartleman starts it out. Lancers spring it to mid-ice. Mark Levine, who centers this line, and now the Lancers will get a quick line change on. His first line only on for a minute. And they send on Dave Fashing's line with Smith and Lockett on the wings. Lancers try and move it out of their own zone as Grumrudder moves it up. And at the line, Knights keep it in, and finally taken back by Shalia. Deflected into the Livingston zone, and Tony Tracy recovers it and sends it back. And we have our first stoppage for the offsides with 13:40 to go in the first period.
Play even so far. Neither team's gotten off a shot on goal. Chip Grabowski, to our best of our information, had 26 goals and 20 assists for 46 points this year. That's quite a production for a high school hockey player. He's a big kid, and as Bob mentioned, he is the type that can dominate a game.
And where will they move the faceoff? Now it's outside the blue line for West Essex, and Joe Hanneback will drop the puck. Drummond Fashing on the faceoff. No score, first period. Lancers try and control that face, but it's swept in. Lockhead tried to make the move on the net, but Grum takes it back. Grum, who played on last year's excellent Lancer team, has that one deflected away. Cullen loses out, and now the Lancers running into some good forechecking. Break it up ice. Slapper from outside, stopped there by Brian Taylor. He leaves it for Brennan, and the Knights started back, but it stopped by Campbell. Rather by Tracy, and he tries to send it back in action along the near side boards, getting a little fierce there. Slapper's save, and a nice one by Measday on the attempt by Fashing. Out in front, backhander is stopped by the defense. Still loose in the slot. Backhander wide as Measday let it go. West Essex keeping the pressure on early on first period. Kept back in there by Brennan. Lockhead behind the net. Tracy tries to check him, and finally we've got a penalty call at the 2:19 mark of the first period, spotted by Paul McGinnis. Looked like a high stick. We'll pick up the official call.
17 green, high stick.
That's the call. 17 green being Carl Shalia, and he goes off for 90 seconds for high sticking at 2:19.
Good offensive pressure by West Essex. Jim Measday called on twice there. First shot really tested him. A good shot just about a foot off the ice to the stick side. Measday had to be alert to knock it away.
Well, the West Essex power play on the ice as Levine and Grabowski go on the face-off as they tee it up at the point. Ken Smith. Now this is Lockhead, and a nice save beautifully, and covering up Jim Measday.
Shot coming through a screen from the point by Cameron Lockhead. Measday, I don't think saw that until the last second. Had a little bit of trouble, but finally pounced on the puck. Fortunately for him, nobody from West Essex was around.
They're readjusting the penalty time clock. They've had some problems with it. Now we've got a whistle. According to what was originally posted on the score clock, only 1 second elapsed, but more than that elapsed on the game clock.
10, the top penalty clock.
And Les Ray's explaining the problem to Paul McGinnis.
Put up
10 seconds.
1:10 left in that penalty. All right, we got it. We got it malfunction.
Well, just a little problem with the penalty time clock, but they'll straighten it out. And it's a 90-second penalty to Shalia for high sticking. That came with the 2:19 mark. And right now, Jim Measday has felt the pressure. And Grabowski again and Levine will face it deep in Livingston ice with the power play on for the Knights. Loose in the slot. Fartleman clears it out. Gets it past Fashing all the way down in. Going down is McLaughlin for Livingston against Fashing. Fashing, a native of Indiana, has it taken away by McLaughlin. He goes back outside to Tony Tracy, and he will center and get some time off that penalty clock with 52 seconds remaining in that penalty to Shalia. Fashing, forechecking there by Bill Grum. Starts it ahead for the Knights. Grabowski, wrist shot. That flies to the near side corner. McLaughlin tries to get it out on the backhand. Grabowski keeps it in. And finally it flies all the way down to the West Essex end with 30 seconds in the penalty. Brian Taylor leaves it for Dave Fashing. Good forechecking. Evidence right there on his power play, Scott.
McLaughlin and Grum doing a good job keeping West Essex penned in. Now Grabowski back with it.
Chip Grabowski against Tracy. That centering one is loose behind the net. Grum fighting with Grabowski. Tries to send it to the point. And just past the skate of Lockhead and a near breakaway from McLaughlin as he brought it back in. Rather, that was Fashing. He was offside. So we've got 11-17 in the period.
Both teams back at equal strength. Livingston doing a good job of killing off that power play. Only one shot on goal I have for West Essex during that 90-second stretch.
So both teams back at 5 skaters aside. No score, first period. Along with Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee for TV3 Sports. This game a cooperative production. UA Columbia and Suburban Cablevision TV3. And sent right back in by the Knights. Fartleman chasing. He has a meaningful collision there with Smith. As the Knights put that pressure on Measday, he has been under the gun. Brian Taylor at the other end of the ice has not really had too many problems. Collision at mid-ice, but no whistle. We come back the other way as Smith lost control of it. Gathering it back in. Tracy. And now we've got a whistle and another call. This one a trip spotted by Paul McGinnis. And this will come at the 4:11 mark.
Bob, I believe it's going to be number 5, Peter
white
Brennan.
trip.
And indeed it is. Pete Brennan going off for tripping.
And it comes, as we said, at the 4:11 mark of the first period. A tripping call. So 90 seconds. West Essex will be a man down. And Brennan, the junior right defenseman, is in the sin bin. So Grum on the face-off for Livingston. Deep in West Essex ice. Joe Hanneback to drop the puck. Back to the point. Levine tees it up in front. Loose. Not spotted in front there by Beatrice. And back come the Knights. They're a man down, but they've got the offense. A slapper there by Foley is stopped by Measday, and Fartleman now almost loses it out and does on the nifty backhand. Back to Foley in the corner, and now the Knights a man down with a minute to go on the penalty are controlling the play. They try and keep it in at the point all the way back down. Beatrice is chasing. Back goes McIntosh along with Wright. Keith Wright, one of the co-MVPs of the North Jersey Scholastic Hockey League. Along with Grabowski, the Knights a man down. You'd never know it. Collision at mid-ice again. No call. A pair of Knights collided on that. Action fierce along the near side boards. Levine clashing with Wright. At mid-ice, this is McIntosh sending it in, and Measday with 35 seconds stops it. And now Lancers trying to get one thrust out of this power play. Rich McLaughlin bottled up at his own blue line, and West Essex takes it right back. 20 seconds in the penalty to Brennan. 9:35 in the period. And West Essex controlling the play. Grabowski took it right away from Levine. Centers it. This is right. In the slot, tried to tee it up and lost control. Deflected, and finally Foley tried to get it to Grabowski, who now is behind the net. Chip Grabowski in front. Save and a beauty. Measday dead on by Foley, and he kicked it out. Back to the other end with the penalty having expired. Again, both teams 5 skaters aside. At mid-ice, Lancers have a break. Tracy carries it in. It's wide. West Essex calling for the offsides. They don't get it. We go under the 9-minute mark. Checking's becoming a little heavy around the sideboards. And the Knights started back out. We've had very few stoppages in play. Smooth action of hockey. Tracy pursued by McGinnis. Now both teams get the alignments they want on the ice. Stan Grabowski has it taken away. Knights have it in the slot. There goes Foley in front. Bashing tried to poke it in, and it was stopped by Measday. 8:33 in the period. Wow, West Essex exploding.
Bob, by my unofficial count, I have Jim Measday credited with 6 saves, and I'd have to say that all but one of them have been of the tough variety. In particular, Chip, we're going to have...
Let's take a look on the replay of that last exchange, Scott.
Out in front of Foley coming in looking to get off a shot. A scramble out in front, and there's Dave Fashing looking to stuff the puck by Measday, but Measday down on the ice to knock it away.
Off the face, shot just wide. Beautiful shot taken by Lockhead. At the point, the Knights keep it in. Centered attempt by Lockhead. Tracy got a stick on it on the far side. Sorella tries just through the crease, and Measday must feel like he's in a barrel with a shotgun pointing right at him, because West Essex has kept the pressure on from the opening face-off, even when they've been a man down. Whistle, and an offsides call.
Just in the last couple of minutes, I noticed Livingston, I think, trying to take the body a little bit more, trying to slow down West Essex. Essex seems to have and a little bit of an edge in team speed, and Livingston's going to have to continue to knock them off stride in order to stay in the game, because right now they're just completely bottled in their own zone.
Off the face, Lancers try and move it into the zone, but we come back the other way as Shalia sends it in. On the Knight defense, sends it to Dave Fashing, the senior centerman, and he sends it up the left wing boards. No offsides, no icing, and the Lancers with Scott Whitman being checked off the puck. The attempt up the near side by Tracy gets it all the way down. This may or may not be icing. No icing, it's waved off. McIntosh takes a mean hit. We've got a frozen puck, and these teams came out tonight and they are hitting.
Indeed, it was number 7, Evan Miles, who went into the corner there. Quite a check. I was a little bit surprised that the referee didn't call for a charge, but I think the fact that Evan missed his man had a little bit more to do with that than anything else.
It looked a lot worse than it actually was. We've got 7:37 now in the first period. A scoreless first period. Livingston in the green, West Essex in the white. 2-on-2 break developing for the Knights. Foley, beautiful dig. Shot, saved by Measday. He covers it up. Boy, Foley, a real salesman with that little dig to the outside.
That's about his 3rd good shot on goal of the night. Measday has come up big every time, though. 7 minutes, 21 seconds remaining in period number 1. We've got a scoreless hockey game here in the finals of the New Jersey State High School Hockey Championship. It's Livingston nothing, West Essex nothing.
The Grabowski line against the Levine line on that face. Lancers try and clear it out. Stopped by right at the point. Sidestep the attempted check and still moves in. Keith Wright back pass slot. In the slot was partially deflected, and now the Lancers started back out. No score, 7 minutes, first period. This is Levine in the slot. Wrist shot just wide. He has a good wrist shot. Does not always rely on that slapper. Grabowski for West Essex gets it back. Miscue in their own zone. Centering pass in the slot. Beatrice fan on it, pulled down. No call. And the Knights try and clear the zone with 6:45 of the period. Cross ice to Foley. Sidesteps the check. Foley sends it in front. Nobody home to convert on it. McGinnis right through the crease. Foley tries to take it down. Beecher is trying to check in, and Foley keeps it back into the zone. Grabowski with Simons on him. Grabowski centers, deflected by the defense. No score still. Foley now gets it back just wide. Little wrist shot as he was moving away from the net. In the corner, a heavy check. Foley almost took it away from Beatrice. Fanned on that attempt. Oh, almost fooled Measday. He was expecting a harder shot, and it just trickled right through.
Measday, as you mentioned, looking for a harder shot, and then Mike McGinnis was also standing around in front. So again, Measday doing well just simply to block the shot. Livingston had their best chance at the other end about 30 seconds before as John Beatrice stepped in alone. Brian Taylor was completely down and out. Beatrice had him at his mercy, but he fell down and was unable to get a shot off.
Off the face, Lancers control it as Fashing goes for it, but Grum sends it around to the near side. The Lancers have not had the better of play. The backhand gets it out of the zone. It comes over the sideboards into the first row of spectators and a souvenir, but we throw it back in this league. 5:59 in the period.
We almost had a little bit of action up here ourselves. Ooh. That missed us by about 2 rows.
Well, you're an old goaltender. You can handle it.
I'm a goaltender. I won't say that I'm that old.
You're talking to someone who's a professional spectator. I would duck just on the West Essex side of the red line. Brennan up the sideboards, bangs it ahead. As Cullum, or rather Shalia, chased it down, we have the call.
Almost 10 minutes gone in this first period. I believe that's our first icing call of the night. Kind of indicative of the way the play has been going. Very few stoppages. Game going very quickly.
Our guest between periods 1 and 2 will be Ralph Dugan, who's the athletic director at West Essex, also the tournament director. And we'll talk about this tournament and things in general with Ralph. Off the face between Fashing and Grum at the point. Shalia tried to keep it in. He does so. But Fashing winds it around the boards and sent all the way back to Tony Tracy. Tracy to Grum, who knocks it to the ice. Of course, you can't pass the puck to a teammate with your hand. You got to knock it down and then control it with your stick. Knights come back the other way, but the defense is equal to it. And Stan Grabowski sends it ahead. Dave Fashing takes it away. 3-on-2 developing. This is Dave Fashing into the slot. Wrist shot, kick save, Measday. It was wide to the right side anyway, and the Lancers start back out with 5:15 in the period. Shalia on right wing sends it in. McIntosh and Brennan, the defense combination right now for West Essex. Long lead. Here come the Knights. Smith, Ken Smith lost the handle. And here comes Rich McLaughlin for Livingston with a slapper. Wide to the left-hand side. Kevin Kelly tries to chase it down. A lot of hitting along the boards. We've only had 2 penalties. 3-on-2 developing. There goes Wright. Tried the lead pass in front. Measday with a blind save on it, and Grum takes it away. Wright tried to thread the needle pass, and it almost clicked. Here comes Grum out of his own end. 4.5 in a scoreless first period. Grum slapper partially deflected by Wright. We said West Essex has the co-MVPs of the North Jersey Scholastic League. Icing is waved off. Simons dumps it right to the Knights. Wraparound attempt loose in front, and McGinnis couldn't get the stick down. Foley's shot is deflected wide. On the far side, Beatrice tries to chase it down. We've got a high sticking call spotted by Paul McGinnis, and that'll come at the 10:54 mark. Let's pick up the call.
Green to green, high stick.
High stick against Brian Simons. The 3rd penalty of our first period, so for the next 90 seconds, a 1-man skating advantage for West Essex. Smith, Grabowski, Wright, Fashing, and Foley are on the ice.
I don't see how West Essex can possibly put on any more pressure during this power play than they have even up so far. Right now I have Jim Measday up with 10 saves.
And he has been tremendous. Brian Taylor has yet to be tested. Smith got a stick on it. Fashing's shot is loose, and here come the Lancers. McLaughlin with a 2-on-2. He's got Levine on his left side. McLaughlin on the backhand. Oh, nice attempt. It came wide out in front of the net. Now the Lancers turning the cards on West Essex. Last time West Essex was a man down, they held the play. 3.5 in the period, 58 seconds in the penalty. This is Dave Fashing partially deflected. Behind the net, Lancers trying to take it away. The Knights trying to set up the play. Fashing has Smith at the point. Oh, just dropped down with it and cleared out by McLaughlin. The length of the ice with 40 seconds on the penalty.
With 2 high-scoring teams playing in this game, I'm a little bit surprised that with only 3 minutes left in the first period, it's still scoreless.
And that indeed it is. With 30 seconds on that penalty, Simon's in there for the high stick. Here comes Keith right across the blue line. Oh, Measday dead on shot. He covers it up. Boy, that is the dangerous type of slapper right along the ice.
And there we saw something that is important for every goaltender to try to do. Jim Measday that time not only kicking out the shot, but leaving it right in front of him so he can control the rebound.
Here it is on the replay. That's a nice shot by Wright.
Wright carries across the line, gets off a shot. Measday gets it with the pad. It's right there in front of him, and he just simply falls down to smother it. 22 seconds remaining in the penalty.
Off the face, the shot by Wright is kicked out. Right behind the Livingston net, tries to send it up with 15 seconds of the penalty. Gets it back, tries to send it to the point. Foley fighting along with Kevin Kelly. Foley takes it away, 6 seconds on the penalty. Knights keep the pressure on, back to the point. McIntosh lost it, and the penalty is up. Both teams are even. Lancers have a break. Kick save by Taylor on that one. Really didn't have to go for it. It was wide anyway on the attempt. Now Grabowski will pull it back in with 2:25 of the period. No score. Livingston and West Essex, the state hockey championship. Here on Suburban Cablevision, TV3. Grabowski on his backhand. Look at that puck control. Just missed to the near side after going to the far side with it. Grabowski in the corner. He controls the play when his line is on the ice. But Grum takes it back for Livingston, number 11. Grum across the red line. Grum to the West Essex line, into the slot. Wrist shot, score! Unassisted tally by Grum at the 13:02 mark.
Bill Grum picking up the puck in his own zone, skating the length of the ice. This is the type of thing you have to worry about when your team is putting pressure on for an entire period without getting any kind of scoring out of it. The other team can catch your defense napping in the offensive zone.
And here is that replay of the goal. Grum, a superlative effort.
Grum cracks across the line, then skates in, goes right between the defensemen, lifts the shot up over the shoulder of goaltender Brian Taylor. It's a 1-0 hockey game. The Livingston Lancers out in front.
Even though West Essex has far carried the play in terms of shots on goal, in terms of pressure on the opposing goalie, how many times do you see it? One good opportunity, and the Lancers have clicked on it. It's 1-0. Shot from the outside. Measday banned on it. It's loose in front in the slot. Fashing couldn't get the stick down. Backhander keeps it in. Fashing fighting along with Scott Whitman. At the point, slapper from the outside is knocked aside as Cullum took that shot. And Tony Tracy in the corner tries to start the clearing sequence. This is Levine, Mark Levine, with 11 goals on the season. Has it knocked away with 1:27, a delayed penalty call. Or is it a delayed offsides? I believe just the delayed offsides call.
Jim Measday almost got himself in trouble. Really one of the few times that he's left the rebound all night. There's his counterpart down at the other end of the ice, Brian Taylor. He's only seen 2 shots this evening so far, but one of them has gotten in behind him.
For Billy Grum, that was goal number 36 on the season, to go along with his 18 assists. 1:25 in the period, 1-0. Livingston leading on Grum's unassisted tally. Backhander by McLaughlin all the way down as icing is waved off, and Wright will gather it back in. Teams are 5 aside. We've had 3 penalties in this period and 1 goal. The goal belongs to Livingston. Mike McGinnis has some trouble with the puck, forgot the puck, and finally the Lancers knock it back out of the zone. Cullum and now Grabowski at mid-ice. Goes down. There goes Levine on a break, but Cullum gets it back. Less than a minute now in the first period. There goes Grabowski on a break. Left side pass too far for Foley. He still has it though. Centers for Grabowski. This is Cullum at the point with a left hand in front. McGinnis can't get it down, and Fardelman takes it back with 40 seconds. He fights with Grabowski on the far side. Beatrice goes down, and a dead puck with 35 seconds in the period.
I note that Livingston is starting to get physical right in front of their own net, particularly Chip Grabowski coming in. He was tied up. He slid a pass over to Tom Foley. The pass a little bit behind him, wound up in his skates, and Foley was unable to control it.
35 seconds in the first period. As we said, Ralph Dugan will be our guest between periods, the athletic director at West Essex High School, also the state hockey tournament director this year. And Fashing will take this face-off against Grum. Joe Hanneback will do the honors. Our other official tonight, Paul McGinnis, and they have had very few calls to make. Very smooth game. Fashing will not take the face. Grabowski will, but he's in the slot looking for an opportunity off that face. It's under a player, and finally Foley in the corner sends it behind the net. Stan Grabowski backhands it, but right into the slot. Grum, as Fashing got a stick on it, but finally out of the zone with 20 seconds in the period. Grabowski cross ice to Wright. Ahead too far for Fashing with 15 in the period. Tries to step back into the puck and lost control. Grabowski keeps it in onside. Slapper by Wright is right on, and Mieste can't control the rebound. It's knocked back to the point. 5 seconds. Wright on the backhand into the slot. With 2 seconds in the period, backhander, and that's the period. What a period of hockey it is here at South Mountain Arena. Livingston 1, West Essex nothing. Back with more right after this. Livingston on top by the count of 1-0. We're between periods 1 and 2. Just to recap the first period, the only goal scored by Bill Grum at 13:02. It was unassisted, and goal number 36 on the season for him. We had 3 penalties in the first period. At 2:19, Shalia went off for a high stick for Livingston. At 4:11, Brennan went off for a trip for West Essex, and at 10:54, Simons went off for the high stick for Livingston. But it is a 1-0 game, and our guest, as I said, is Ralph Dugan, the athletic director at West Essex and the co-director of this tournament. And what a tournament it's been so far.
We've had some exciting games, Bobby, here at South Mountain as well as Menon Arena. At Menon, we had probably 2,500 people for the Chatham Township West Essex game, which West Essex won in overtime.
It's also a good thing, Ralph, that they've been able now for the last 2 years, now the third year, to have a state hockey tournament. For many years, just the Gordon Cup was considered the sign of supremacy, but it's a good thing that the state has seen fit to institute this.
Well, they're trying to expand all their athletic programs in New Jersey. With the influx of the Morris County schools, we had to go to a statewide tournament.
What about the seeding process, the selection process? You picked 8 teams. How did you go about doing that?
Well, there's a committee appointed by the State Athletic Association, and they try to pick the teams based on their records and then seed them accordingly.
Of course, many things come into bearing, the records, the strength of schedules. What are some of the other considerations when you sit down and try and select teams that come into play?
Well, it seems, opinion of most of the experts, that the North Jersey Hockey League is probably by far the best league in the state, and that proves it right here tonight with Livingston and West Essex in the final.
What about some of the other teams? Of course, you mentioned Morris County. They've come strides in recent years, though, haven't they?
Well, Chatham Township is very strong. We've beaten them twice. We're 2-0 with them, so we think we're pretty fair. They beat Livingston, and Brick turned around and beat Chatham Township.
What about this first period we've just seen? We've seen Livingston not control the play. They had one opportunity. They converted it while West Essex outshot them, I think, 17 or 18-3.
Well, both teams have come from behind in the past, and I think you see an exciting game. I think both teams are playing very tight. Both teams appear to be well coached. We've played 5 ball games, and it's good ice hockey.
Of course, your team boasts the co-MVPs of the North Jersey Scholastic League, of course, and Keith Wright and Chip Grabowski. You've got to be kind of proud of that team and the individuals on it.
Well, they're 2 of the best hockey players in the state of New Jersey, and they're very sought after by the college coaches in the East Coast.
What about the strides that remain to be made here in North Jersey? What else can be done now, you as both an athletic director and as a coach and as an educator, to upgrade the ice hockey here in the area?
Well, we need ice rinks. We use Total Ice Palace, and I guess if there's more county facilities or state facilities, it would sure help the ice hockey programs.
Of course, you're an old soccer coach, and what went through your mind when you woke up the other day, saw that snow coming down, and both the Americans of the American Soccer League, the Cosmos of the NASL, trying to get some practice? And I know you were talking with Manny Shellshite and some of the other fellows with the Americans just today.
Well, they're going to go, I talked to them today, they're going to go indoors at the Rutgers Complex. And the Cosmos, they plan to go outdoors tomorrow at Meadowlands.
You've got some fellows out of West Essex High School who are doing quite well in professional soccer, trying to latch on some places.
Yeah, just tonight, Van Taylor signed up with the New York Eagles in the new Super Soccer League of North America.
And of course, you've got other people from West Essex. So who are some of the other players that have made good?
Well, Mike Giampapa is hoping to hook on with the Americans, as well as Bobby Black and Tommy Taylor. They're 3 All-Americans out of West Essex High School.
The score between periods 1 and 2, it's Livingston 1 and West Essex nothing. Our guest has been Ralph Dugan, the athletic director at West Essex High School, the co-director of this tournament. And Ralph, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll see you around throughout the evening.
Thank you very much, Bobby. I'll see you at the conclusion of the game for the presentation.
Okay, very good. And we'll be back with more hockey right after this on Suburban Cablevision TV3. There's Brian Taylor, and he's been beaten once. That by Bill Grum. To recap the shots on goal in the first period, Livingston soundly outshot by West Essex. We'll see those stats in just a second as we're just ready to start the second period. As you see, West Essex with 17 and Livingston with 3. The only goal scored, as we said, in the first period, Billy Grum unassisted, his 36th goal of the season at the 13:02 mark. Hard hitting, that has marked it, Scott. This game has been not penalty marred, but when the puck goes along the boards, a couple of elevated elbows, you might say.
The stick's getting up a little bit in the corners, but up to now, I really have to say that the story of the game after one period can be summed up in 2 words. Jim Measday. Goaltender for Livingston has been nothing less than phenomenal. Scored with 17 saves out of 17 shots. 17 saves is generally be considered 2 periods worth of work. Measday's looked good. He's looked steady. He's only given up a couple of rebounds, and his defense has been very steady in clearing them away. One thing I noticed, Livingston, the few shots they have taken, not all of them on goal, have been from far out. They come in just inside the blue line, let fly, and Brian Taylor generally would have an easy time knocking those shots down. On the other hand, I can only recall perhaps 2 shots in the entire first period taken by West Essex that were taken in the vicinity of the blue line. Everything else has been coming in close, so we have to credit Mr. Measday out of 17 saves, with perhaps even 12 of them as being tough.
He has been really on top of his game. A couple of them you might call lucky because he has been down, he's been there, but the key to a good goaltender is always anticipation, knowing where that puck will be, knowing your opponents, being able to guess where the puck might be coming from.
I'd have to estimate that Measday, a big kid, he's probably 6 feet 2 inches tall and may weigh 175 pounds. That's big for a goaltender, and it is an advantage. The more net you cover up, the better off you are.
Our guest between periods 2 and 3 will be Harvey Cohen, the ice hockey coach at Chatham Township. And again, we'd like to thank Ralph Dugan and the entire staff of the state hockey tournament and the staff here at South Mountain for their cooperation. And of course, Ralph and I digressed into soccer between periods, which is not unusual when a couple of soccer buffs get together. But ice hockey is rounding itself out tonight. This is the final game. And Paul McGinnis, who also works up at Danny Michaels Ice Palace in Florham Park as the rink manager, one of the top officials in New Jersey ice hockey.
In addition, he's also the coach general manager of a team in the Mid-Eastern Hockey League, a semi-professional league that plays in this area. He had a chance to talk a little bit before the game, and the one thing that seems to be the consensus this year, that the one dominating factor has been that there's really been no dominating team this year. Last year, the 2 teams in the finals, Livingston and Brick, were really clearly the 2 best teams in New Jersey. This year, that really hasn't been the case. Seton Hall won the Gordon Cup, and the league in general has just been quite a bit better balanced.
That's true. Last year we had the 2 super clubs, and this was one of them last year, Livingston. And Lancers with a late appearance to the ice. Jim Measday in net. Simon's back with him. And West Essex trailing 1-0.
Simons has looked good at defense, along with his defense partner, Randy Fartelman. He's had to, really. They've been tough in front of that net, and West Essex has applied a lot of pressure. We'll have to see if perhaps Livingston can get off a few more shots this period. Essex has to be a little bit down after getting off 17 shots and not being able to put one by Jim Measday.
15-minute periods. Both teams, of course, will start 5 skaters aside. We have no penalties carrying over. The only goal, as we said, scored at 13:02 of the first period.
And again, remarking as I did before, expecting a high-scoring game from these 2 teams, score only 1-0 going into period number 2. Although, as we have mentioned repeatedly, West Essex has gotten off a barrage of shots on Livingston goaltender, but they haven't put one in the net yet.
Each team starting their first units. Levine centering for McLaughlin and Beatrice, with Fartelman and Simons in defense. On defense for Livingston, of course, with Measday in goal. Taylor in goal for West Essex. Coleman right on defense. Grabowski centers for Foley, and McGinnis for the West Essex Knights. Levine and Grabowski on the face-off. Period 2 is underway as Joe Hanneback drops the puck, and the Lancers sent it right down to Keith Wright. Wright almost has it knocked away by Levine. We're taking intermissions between each period. This is the final, and they're throwing ice time to the wind. These 2 clubs are going to get the benefit of all the time between periods. As Fartelman is behind his net, sends it past Foley, and we've got a whistle and a penalty in the first 16 seconds. And let's pick up the call. A cross-checking call against McLaughlin of Livingston at the 16-second mark of the second period. And so for the next 90 seconds, The Knights will have the one-man skating advantage, and they'll face it off in Livingston ice.
It's the third power play opportunity for West Essex. This was the problem that Brick Township had against Livingston on Wednesday night. They had a number of power play opportunities, but were really unable to capitalize on very many of them. West Essex rather is going to have to do better.
Foley, Grabowski, Wright out there for West Essex, along with Ken Smith and Dave Fashing, the power play unit for Jeff Robbins' West Essex Knight Ball Club. And here comes Livingston off that face, with Grum leading a 2-on-4 with a backhand wide to the near side corner with 1:19 in that penalty, and the Knights now have it back. They have the skating advantage. Tom Foley drops it. Grabowski shot and a score! 35 seconds into the period, Grabowski assisted by Foley, and we're tied up at 1 apiece.
Beautiful shot by Chip Grabowski right over the shoulder of Jim Measday. Absolutely no chance on that shot. Grabowski getting off the wrist shot.
Here on the replay, goal number 27 for Chip Grabowski.
Foley carries the puck into the beautiful drop pass to Grabowski. Takes a quick wrist shot. I don't know that Measday was quite set.
Foley the assist, the time of the goal, 35 seconds, a power play goal. And it's a 1-1 hockey game. Grum and Grabowski on the face. Grabowski now 27 goals, 20 assists, 47 points on the season. And now they'll chase Grabowski, and Foley will face it with Grum. So we're tied up, and it didn't take long. Foley tried to sweep it in on the backhand, but it's knocked back, and Wright will knock it down. Keith Wright has it knocked away alertly by Kevin Kelly. Just underway second period, and the Knights have stormed back to tie it. Grabowski eluding Kelly's check in the corner. Puck up the near wing boards, and here come the Knights out of their own zone. McGinnis across the blue line against Tracy. McGinnis, puck behind the net. Wraparound attempt hit the side of the post. Fashing can't get the stick down. Grum can't clear it, and it comes back all the way to Tom Cullum, number 17. He bangs it ahead. An icing call as it crosses the goal line, and we'll have a face-off deep in West Essex ice.
That icing coming with 13:39 remaining in period number 2. We've got a tie hockey game here now at South Mountain Arena. In this, the finals of the New Jersey State High School Hockey Tournament. It's Livingston 1, West Essex 1. And West Essex changes up.
There's Jeff Robbins directing the Knight Hockey Club with 13:39, as you said, remaining in the second period. Along with Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee for TV3 Sports. This game a cooperative production of Suburban Cablevision and UA Columbia Cable Television. And you're seeing it right from South Mountain Arena as it's chased down by Lockhead. In front, Measday, and it's poked in by Ken Smith off the miscue by Measday. He couldn't cover it up, and Smith was there to convert it. And it's a 2-1 game.
That time Measday let go of the rebound. Couldn't find the puck, and Smith right there at the side of the net. We'll have it coming up right now.
Let's take a look at it as Ken Smith will poke it in.
Puck on the side comes out to the point. Fenceman just throws it in front. Measday made the save. The puck, I think, a little bit of a change-up. Measday couldn't quite get a hold of it. Smith was right there.
We'll give Lockhead and McIntosh assists unofficially, and the time of that goal, 1:49, and it's a 2-1 hockey game. And Ken Smith puts the Knights on top, and a puck tied up along the near side boards, and a face-off. So West Essex wasting no time coming out within the first 2 minutes. Less than the first 2 minutes, they have taken the lead. So we were right with the assist. McIntosh and Lockhead with him at the 1:49 mark, and it's a 2-1 game. This is Grabowski in the corner. Carries it niftily on his backhand, and now loses out as the Lancers, who took that 1-zip lead after one period, now have their work cut out. Wright carries in from the point. Keith Wright centers in front. Nobody could get it down. Shot from outside by Cullum, knocked down. Rebound just wide. Wright sends it in front. It's loose, and Measday finally gobbles it up, and Measday is a man besieged in the crease right now for Livingston.
5 shots on goal for West Essex to none for Livingston. We're in the second period now. West Essex leads by the score of 2-1.
Let's take a look at that last sequence as Measday was tested once again.
Shot from the point. Measday got a piece of it, went back behind the net, centered back out in front. Measday just flopped down on the puck with a whole raft of players over top of him.
Grum and Grabowski on the face, sent in on goal. Fartleman stopped it, rebound in front and tried to poke in by Foley. And Meesday was right there as Foley tried the backhand from just in front with 12:38 now in the second period. And the complexion of this game has changed.
Ryan Simons almost made a costly mistake there as he mishandled the puck in front of his own goaltender. Meesday was alert enough to pounce on it.
Again, it's deep in Livingston ice. Again, it's Grabowski and Bill Grum on the face in the slot as McGinnis tried it. Now Grabowski backhander stopped nicely, and he gets it back. Grabowski looking to get it to the point, but Grum takes it away. He's got a man up ice. He headmans it to Stan Grabowski. He tried to get it ahead, and it's taken back by the Knights. Hitting is getting very heavy at mid-ice. That puck flies into the scoring table, and play is called with 12:18.
Bob, we went into the West Essex locker room before the game, and there was music blasting away in there. Perhaps during the first intermission, West Essex coach Jeff Roberts changed the tune a little bit. Whatever he did, it worked, because West Essex has come out like a house of fire.
Well, he said at the beginning of the season, they asked if they could have a stereo in their dressing room, and he just gave us permission. Until the team started to have some problems, he took it back out until they got their act together, and they did get their act together, as evidenced by the fact they're in the finals. Carrying it in was Kelly. He was written off the play. No penalty call, and back we come to mid-ice, and now Simons has it. As you mentioned, Scott, we walked in there before, and it was like the Fillmore East revisited. The walls were shaking. Livingston's dressing room was kind of quiet and pensive, but right now, loud leading the quiet 2-1.
Let's look ahead a little bit. If this game is tied at the end of regulation, we will have one 15-minute sudden death period. If it's still tied at the end of that, then we'll have a shootout a la the North American Soccer League. Each team will have 5 skaters. They'll have 5 chances on the goal, alternating between teams, and the winner at the end of those 5 shots will be the winner of the game.
That's actually borrowed from New Jersey high school soccer, and the NASL borrowed that from high school soccer. As Livingston carrying it in, and McLaughlin lost it, knocked down to the ice behind the net, West Essex net, and someone directed it. The stick over the shoulder, so we'll face it off. And it was a West Essex player, so we'll do it in the night end.
Paul McGinnis right there. I believe he called a hand pass on number 10, Cameron Lahead, and so we'll have a face-off with 11:45 remaining in period number 2.
And a 2-1 West Essex lead. Fashing trying to knock it out, and it's chased to the near sides. Grabowski up the near wing and fighting for it. Number 19, John Beatrice, along with Fashing. McIntosh sends it in for West Essex as Tony Tracy behind his own net to the far side of McLaughlin, who's being checked there by Lahead. Tie up. And now we've got a little flare-up of tempers, and Paul McGinnis, I think, is going to bounce a few players. Perhaps just a roughing call to keep things under control. The penalties will come at the 3:49 mark. And let's pick up the call.
What are you waiting for the first time, McGinnis? Green, 8 white, charging, both.
That's the call. 16 green, of course. Mark Levine, 8 white, Ken Smith, and they go off for charging at 3:49 for 90 seconds. And both teams will be 4 skaters aside. There is Smith in the sin bin.
This, I think, is going to favor West Essex. They've been playing the more wide-open brand of hockey. Now with fewer players on the ice, they've got a little more room to move.
Slapper by right. Meesday covers it up right off the face. Grabowski got it back to right. Just like the textbook says you do it.
It's a good shot by Wright, but I'd have to say that it's been one of the easier saves for Mr. Meesday this evening.
Grabowski nearly tripped up. He has the puck. He directs it on the ice with his hand, so no call. And now Tracy gets it past Cullum, but he got a stick on it. Cullum and Tracy going, and now there's McLaughlin against Grabowski. Chipper takes it away, centers it. Right is way open. Has all the time in the world. In front, the backhander by Foley. Oh, little Joe Pepitone act there by Meesday. Dr. Strangeglove, and he just gobbled it up.
I think Mr. Foley could have had himself a goal that time if he could lift it up a little bit higher. Meesday had already gone down, but put it right into Jim's glove.
Here's that save on the replay.
Puck came all the way out to the point. Wright got off a shot that was blocked by the defense. It came to Foley, who took the backhander right into the pads of the goaltender.
Back to live action at the point. Cullum winds it up, but he goes now to Grabowski, too far behind the net as Fartleman is going for the Lancers. Over there with Cullum and Grum. Now it's Tracy and Grabowski colliding behind the Livingston net with 10.5 in the period. 41 seconds on the doubled penalty. Each team 4 skaters aside. Cullum keeps it on sides. Gets it past McLaughlin. Tries to get it to Grabowski, who's the man behind the net, trying to center everything up. This is Wright at the point, fighting with Grum, and still in the Livingston zone. There goes Grabowski, centering too far for Foley, and now out of the zone, and Cullum will have to wait for his mates to get back onside. Foley and McLaughlin with the puck. 10 minutes, second period. West Essex 2, Livingston 1. Along with Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee for TV3 Sports from South Mountain Arena. The championship of New Jersey high school hockey down to this final game. Foley tried to carry it in. Fashing gets a stick on it, and it's kept in onside by Foley. And a line change now made by West Essex as Grum starts out of his own end for Livingston. Skips over Grabowski's stick all the way down, and now Livingston will make a change. Penalties have expired. Both teams 5 skaters aside. Fashing has it taken away neatly by Stan Grabowski. His slapper stopped by Wright. Grabowski having his problems with it. Weak backhander in front. Grum tries to tee it up and scores. Grum ties it up.
Fatal mistake that time by Brian Taylor. The puck came across to Grum. He had a little bit of trouble setting it up. Taylor slid across, but he was down on the ice. Looking at it on the replay, you'll see what I mean. Puck in the corner. It's sent right out in front. A bad play by the defenseman. Grum there has all the time in the world as no one's around him. Taylor was already down on the ice, so it was an easy thing for Mr. Grum to notch his second goal of the game by lifting it over the fallen goaltender. That was the first shot on goal in the second period for Livingston, and it would serve to tie the game.
And they make the most of their opportunities. We'll attempt to pick up the assists on the public address as Livingston starts back the other way. Grum gets his 37th goal of the season. Beatrice. Levine picks up 1 assist. We missed the other one. Smith carries it in for West Essex. It's batted back out to mid-ice and all the way back down the other end. Grabowski and Levine receiving the assists. So Grabowski and Levine assisting Grum at 5:37. And we are tied. 2 goals apiece. This is Peter Brennan, a junior defenseman, starting out for West Essex. The backhand to Dave Fashing. Wide open at mid-ice across the blue line. Fashing has a trailer, but he shoots it. Meestay. And now Fashing tries to center it. Beatrice in the corner with a nifty backhand. Now Simon starts it up. Beatrice to McLaughlin. McLaughlin left side for Levine. Levine against Wright. Nifty into the slot, but nobody there to convert on it with 8:17 now. Second period and a 2-2 game. Grum with both Livingston goals. Chip Grabowski and Ken Smith the goal scorers so far for West Essex. Play is getting a little ragged right now as Brennan tried to get the stick down, but Beatrice going with Foley from the point. That one sent in offsides. And they'll bring it back outside the West Essex blue line.
Mark Levine for Livingston has played well tonight, and that's even more remarkable because of the fact that he's just coming off an injury. Wednesday night against Brick Township, Levine had 3 assists, and Coach Ed Purdy was certainly glad to have him back in the lineup.
Carrying it in was Evan Miles, but it's knocked away by Wright. The third line on right now. Tracy, Whitman, and Miles for Livingston. Wright chasing it down. Evan Miles checking him on the corner. Over comes Tracy, and we've got the whistle and a charging call against Tracy, spotted by Paul McGinnis. This one will come at the 7:18 mark. And here's the official call.
Men in the green, a charge.
Brian Tracy, a charging call, 90 seconds. He will be off the ice now, and a opportunity on the power play for West Essex. Well, Paul McGinnis and Joe Hanneback have let them play, have let them hit, but they've called the obvious ones.
And that one was pretty obvious. Tracy going into the corner with gloves and stick high. McGinnis electing to call it a charge. This is the second power play of the period for West Essex.
And this is Chip Grabowski with the puck. He's out there with Wright on his right side. It's loose in the slot, and Fartelman will knock it away. Tom Foley also out there, along with Ken Smith and Dave Fashing at the left point. Smith at the right point. Livingston trying to work it out as Wright in front, and it's sent back up the right side by Delappy all the way down. 7:15 of the period, a minute in the penalty.
Some careless stick handling at the side of the Livingston net almost cost them, but finally they were able to shoot it down.
Stan Grabowski misses to the near side, comes off the boards, and West Essex now facing A Livingston club that is shorthanded but is not showing it with 46 seconds and the charging penalty to Tracy. The Knights started out. Wright didn't realize that Grabowski was passing to him, so Chip sends it ahead on the backhand. Kevin Kelly got a stick on it. Grabowski sends it back in off sides, so we'll come out to center ice.
With 32 seconds remaining in the penalty to Livingston's Brian Tracy, West Essex again keeping their rather large advantage in shots on goal. I have West Essex with 9 shots on in this period, and Livingston with only 2. 6 minutes 44 seconds remaining in period number 2. It's Livingston 2, West Essex 2. This is the finals of the New Jersey State High School Hockey Championship from here at South Mountain Arena.
Grum for Livingston on the faceoff. We still have 32 seconds on the power play for West Essex. Grabowski facing for the Knights, and it's deep in West Essex ice off the face. Foley tries to carry it up, and here come the Knights breaking up ice. Wright tried to carry it past Tracy. It didn't quite work. There are 2 Tracys. Tony Tracy on the ice, Brian Tracy in the sin bin. They are not related. Slapper from outside by Foley is deflected wide, and now Randy Fartleman in the corner. Whips it all the way down with 9 seconds on the penalty. That should just about do it. We'll see Brian Tracy in 5 seconds. Fashing going with McLaughlin. McLaughlin, now teams are even. 5 skaters aside. McLaughlin centers and taken away by Grabowski, who is playing all over the ice tonight. 6 minutes, second period, and a tie hockey game at 2-2. This is Foley. Score! Oh, he beat Measday with a soft, deceptive shot. Time of the goal, 9:01.
7-9-14.
And here it is on the replay.
Grabowski starting out in his own end, hits Foley right at the red line. Foley picking up the puck, takes a shot. I don't think it have to be that. The first goal Measday could be faulted on. He slid across, but it looked like he got a little bit tangled up, and Foley slid it right underneath him.
3-2 game. Grabowski with 1 assist. And Hanneback drops the puck to start play. West Essex reassumes the lead at 3-2.
Scored by number 7, Tom Foley. Assisted by number 9, Chip Grabowski, and number 14, Keith Wright.
And Keith Wright picks up the other assist. 9:01, the official time of the goal. To the Knights. In a bang-bang hockey game, we have had tremendous action end-to-end as Ken Smith tries to send it into the slot. Campbell dumps it back. Campbell making his first appearance, I believe, tonight. Number 21 in the white uniform for West Essex, as Beatrice tried to keep the pressure on for Livingston, but Keith Wright starts the engine up for West Essex. A 3-on-2 Wright with a nice drop pass, but it was offsides as the charge was across the blue line ahead of the play.
Good close game up to now. Very entertaining. It's getting to be just about what we anticipated, with West Essex being the more offensive-minded of the 2 teams. Livingston pretty much been penned in their own zone, but they've taken advantage of 2 breaks. They've got 2 goals on only 6 shots in the first 2 periods.
Grabowski and Grum off the face, and the Knights control it. There's Ed Purdy, the Livingston Lancer coach. Stan Grabowski's shot is deflected away by a sprawling defenseman, and then it's put in by Bill Grum. And we're tied again with Stan Grabowski and Kevin Kelly getting the assists. Time of the goal at 9:56. Here it is on the replay.
Grabowski goes into the corner, takes a shot that's blocked by Wright, but the puck bounces right out in front. Grum alertly right there to knock it past Taylor. Once again, Livingston, playing the opportunist, has come back and knotted this game at 3 apiece.
Grum, goal number 38. That's the hat trick. And Grabowski and Kelly get the assists at 9:56, and it's 3-3. Again, we're tied. Wow, we had a 1-0 game after 1 period, but we have had lots of scoring. There goes Stan Grabowski, lost control of it, and Grabowski backhands it out of the slot. Oh, almost forgot the puck. We've got a penalty called, and we have Kelly going off, I believe, for Livingston. We'll await the official call, maybe a holding call. Here it is. A high sticking call made at 10:09, and it's against Peter Brennan. So Peter Brennan goes off. More for the retaliation, I think, than anything else. He was having a little tete-a-tete with Kevin Kelly.
Brian Taylor of West Essex was lucky he didn't get one too, because he took a two-hander to the head of Kelly, but Paul McGinnis just calling the first penalty. So with 4:51 remaining in period number 2, Livingston has just come back to tie the hockey game at 3 apiece, and now they've got their first power play of this second stanza.
So the high sticking call on Brennan at 10:09, and we're tied up at 3 apiece in what has become a real lively hockey game from South Mountain Arena for the high school championship of New Jersey. Kevin Kelly, a slapper. Whoa, boy, that was high, and Taylor went for it anyway. To the point, it's out of the zone. Levine will have to set up the play. Sends it back in, offside. It's not a brilliant play at all because his mates were still in the zone.
From what I can see, if Brian Taylor has a weakness in goal, it would be up high. He seems to have a tendency to go down a little bit too fast, and if Livingston is going to beat him consistently, I think they'll be trying to pick the upper corners.
Brennan off for high sticking with 1:05 remaining in his penalty. They'll bring it all the way back down the other end for the face-off. Perhaps a deliberate offsides.
I do believe that's what Joe Hanneback called on the play, and so we'll have the face-off coming up to the left side of Jim Measday.
Livingston wanted the line change, but it's going to cost them about 150 feet of ice. Grumman and Grabowski facing it. And out of the zone as it's sent back in by Ken Smith. Delayed offsides, but it's whistled off now as Lancers break it back. McLaughlin left wing against right, still with the puck. Around the boards, Fartelman on the right point. This is in the slot. Rum looking for his 4th goal. Thought he had it, but it was covered up by Taylor, who got it, it looks to be, between the arm and the body.
Taylor that time sliding across, covered the short side. The shot came up high. It hit Taylor in the shoulder, and he managed to trap the pad in the crook of his arm.
4:01 in the period. 3-3 is the score. 40 seconds on the penalty to Brennan. Rum facing Grabowski. They have been facing off all evening long, and the face taken by the Knights as Ken Smith is in the corner. Rum fights for it for the Lancers. And here come the Knights. Grabowski leading the charge. He's actually 1-on-4. Continues until he loses control, but still the Knights have the advantage. Kevin Kelly and Grabowski with a little meaningful exchange of elbows. 18 seconds on the penalty. And Brennan will be making a reappearance shortly. Lancer's not able to do too much with his power play attempt right now. Knights have the advantage. Wright winds it up from the point. It's loose in front. The rebound is still loose, and Measday crawls out to cover it up. Little action after the whistle. Extracurricular bumping, if you will.
I'm impressed with. We have the save coming up on replay. Puck behind the net. Grabowski sends it back out to the point to Kevin Wright. Wright gets off a shot. It's a save by Measday. He can't quite control the rebound. Grabowski poking at it. Finally manages to get it under his pad.
3:25 in the second period. Harvey Cohen, the Chatham Township coach, will be our guest between periods 1 and 2. 4 seconds remaining on the penalty to Brennan, so still an opportunity for the Lancers. Grabowski gets a hand as he goes off, and Tom Foley will take this face off with Grum, and now Livingston will have a chance for a change as Ed Purdy, and now those substitutions will be waved off. They tried to get Simons on defense along with Fartelman. They wanted their first defensive pairing, and McGinnis said no sir, and Joe Hanneback will drop the puck now with the same 5 Lancers on the ice as were before. Grum and Foley off the face. As we said, Ed Purdy used to coach at West Essex, and here he is taking on the old school for the state hockey title. Both teams 5 skaters aside. The penalty is over with 3 minutes in the period now in a 3-3 game. This is Keith Wright off the boards for Smith. Intercepted. Grum! Oh, nice save by Taylor. Poke attempt stopped as Kelly tried to get the rebound, but Taylor, straining to the utmost with his right leg, stopped it. Here it is on the replay. We'll talk about Brian Taylor. He was tested. He came through.
West Essex on the clearing attempt came back out to the point where it was taken by Shalia. He took a shot. Taylor stopped it, but he couldn't find it. The puck was right there between his legs. Kelly came in to poke at it, but Taylor fell back to smother the puck. 3 minutes, 3 seconds remaining in this period, and we'll have a face-off to the left side of Taylor.
Again, it's Grum on the face. Fashing loose took the face for West Essex to the far side. Lowhead starts out of his zone. Fashing down the center slot. Nice shot and a goal! Fashing beating Measday. He handcuffed him with the shot, and West Essex takes the lead. 4-3, time of the goal. 12:09. Here it is on the replay, the entire sequence.
West Essex breaking out on a 3-on-2. Bashing carries across the line. Deeks, the defenseman, takes the shot. Meesday did get it between his pads, didn't get enough of it. The puck trickled through his legs and into the net. And once again, West Essex has taken the lead by the score of 4-3.
Tremendous game. 12:09, the time of Fashing's goal that puts the Knights back on top, 4-3. I believe Lohead got one of the assists, the only assists. So Cameron picks up an assist, and it's now a 4-3 game. And a seesaw battle, to say the very least, as Keith Wright behind his own net eludes the attempted check of John Beatrice. Loose in front, near mistake. Backhander in front. Oh, nice save. And Taylor covers up on the rebound. And now we've got a little fisticuffs on the far end, but things are cooled down rather quickly as McLaughlin and Beatrice have a few words with one of the Knights. And let's take a look at that save by Brian Taylor.
Puck comes out to the side. A backhand shot taken. That has to be Taylor's best save of the night as he kicked out that left pad, knocked the puck down, and then managed to fall on it before the Livingston player could come in and tuck it behind him.
The initial shot taken by Mark Levine. We've got 2.5 now in period 2, and West Essex leading this game 4-3. The scoring in this period, we'll recap it at the end, but Grum has already amassed the hat trick for Livingston, the face-off sent through the crease. The last goal scored by Fashing. Now, the Knights start out of their own end. Both teams find aside. Levine stealing it, and the shot kicked out by Taylor as McLaughlin sends it back in. Right, with Beatrice taking it away. Livingston with some good defense right now. Stopped at the point by Tracy. This is Levine looking to set up the play in the slot, and finally it's covered up by West Essex. Wright alertly pulls it under him. 2 minutes exactly.
Bob, this is really the first concentrated offensive pressure that Livingston has managed to put on the West Essex goals since the opening moments of the game. Most of their goals have been scored on breaks, and now finally they seem to be getting the puck out of their own end. They're keeping it down in the West Essex end and putting some shots on Brian Taylor.
Mark Levine with 11 goals, 14 assists on the year will take this face-off for Livingston. He's out there with Tracy and Shalia on defense. McLaughlin and Beatrice on the wings, and these fans are getting into the game, to say the least. Grabowski takes that face. Less than 2 now in period 2. The Knights own a 1-goal lead. Levine and Grabowski tangle. No call. Fashing cross ice. There's Ken Smith. Works against Fartleman. Centers, and it's behind the net. And it's taken away by Rich McLaughlin. We may have a Pier Sixer by the end of this game. These two teams are hitting. McLaughlin on the backhand all the way around the carousel. Now looks to set it up. Fanned on the attempt. 1.5 in the period. West Essex on top. Somebody broke the stick on that attempt. It's loose in the slot. And now Wright will try and start the clearing sequence with Beatrice on him. Wright cutting through Livingston players like so much butter out of his own end. This is Grabowski. Tied up. Meesday stops the initial weak shot. It's still loose. Fashing couldn't get the stick down. Here comes a breakaway onside. There goes John Beatrice. Oh! Brian Taylor waited him out like a shootout at the OK Corral. Stood his ground, forced him outside, and Beatrice missed the breakaway. Back to the other end. McLaughlin and Grabowski, a pair of 9s tangle. And the puck is still alive. Here comes Grum. 38 seconds in the second period. Wow, if this is any indication of the final period, as Wright and Grum and now Smith tangle in the corner, we're going to have a whale of a game down to the end. 30 seconds in the period, and finally a whistle as Joe Hanneback calls play with 27 seconds.
Action end to end here. First a breakaway by number 19, John Beatrice. He came in alone on goaltender Brian Taylor. Taylor held his ground, and when Beatrice tried to deke it around him, he lost control of the puck, and it went wide of the net. Then Chip Grabowski for West Essex came back the other end. He carried the puck down into the Livingston zone. Then he was played off by Rich McLaughlin of the Lancers. And the puck comes all the way back down into the West Essex zone. Bill Grum doing most of the legwork there until he was finally checked in the corner.
Wow, what a period of hockey. we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals scored. We've had 5 penalties called, and we have had exciting play. And now another substitution is waved off as Livingston again attempts to send out Fartelman on defense. And McGinnis is saying, come on, Randy, sit down. West Essex, I believe, is the home team. They're wearing the white, so I'd have to think that's the case. They have the last opportunity on all substitutions.
One thing I noticed there, Ed Purdy sent out Mark Levine to play the left point, almost like a power play. There would have been only one defenseman out there, and a pretty good play with 27 seconds left in the period.
That's the second time Ed Purdy's had a substitution waved off, and I'm sure he's got to watch his P's and Q's. You might get a bench penalty if you continue. And down at the other end, the man who has been equally brilliant, as Brian Taylor has been over the last few minutes, Meesday has been tested and handcuffed on one goal, gave up another one on a short attempt, a kind of a soft shot, but on the whole has kept Livingston in the game. 23 seconds now, and now they will send off Tracy and Shalea, and they will send on the unit they wanted originally. And they will have Fartelman on defense, Levine on the left point, Grum centering for Kelly and McLaughlin. So they're shaking up their line combinations now in the final 20 seconds of the period to try and perhaps get a tying goal. West Essex leads at 4-3. Bashing at 12:09 broke the 3-3 tie as Lowhead got one of the assists. Off the face, along the boards, and Fartelman stops it at the point, keeps it on, but now Grabowski out of his own end with 15 seconds. Ken Smith with Fashing with 10 seconds. Smith in front, Grabowski, and nice save by Meesday with 5 seconds, and now McLaughlin with 4 seconds starts it back out. It's out of the zone with time expiring now in the second period, and what a period of hockey it has been here at South Mountain Arena. West Essex leading 4-3. Back with more right after this. West Essex leading matters here in the State Hockey Championship by the score of 4-3. We're between periods 2 and 3. And in just a second, we'll be chatting with Harvey Cohen, the Chatham Township hockey coach, to recap the scoring. Grabowski tied it up for West Essex at the 35-second mark. West Essex took the lead 1 minute and 14 seconds later when Ken Smith scored, with McIntosh and Lowhead getting the assist. Then Grum tied it back up with his 37th goal at 5:37. Foley scored next for West Essex. Then Grum with the hat trick, his 38th goal at 9:56. And then Fashing with the final score of the second period. And that's how we stand 4-3. And I must ask you, Coach Cohen, quite a difference it seems between those first two periods.
Well, the second period is much more wide open. It was 1-0 after the first period, and then they just started to skate and pass instead of just check, check, check.
What do you think precipitated this change? Anything that, as a coach, you might think would have gone on in the locker room between periods 1 and 2 to open the game up a little bit?
Meesday's goaltending, because West Essex was frustrated with 17 shots in the first period, and they have to score a lot of goals to win. They beat us twice during the year, 8-6 and 7-6 in overtime. If they don't score a lot, they don't win because they give up a lot of goals.
Let's talk about how your squad did in this state tournament. If you could recap how your season went and also how the tournament went.
Well, we faced Seton Hall on Monday night and beat them 7-4. They were leading us 4-2 going into the third period. And then we played West Essex, who had beaten CBA 7-6. And they were beating us 4-1 in the middle of the second period. We were leading at the end of the second 5-4, and they outscored us 2-1 in the third, and they scored in 1 minute and 5 seconds of overtime.
For many of the people that are watching in the Essex County area, the resurgence, not really a resurgence, because for many years Essex County hockey had been considered the best, but Morris County has laid claim, along with the Shore, to having some good hockey. What are your impressions of the development over the last couple of years of Morris County ice hockey on the high school level?
Morris County hockey is improving. This is the first year since the league started that the Menon Cup champions have defeated the Gordon Cup champions. We faced Brick the first year and lost in overtime for the state championship. It's improving. It'll take a while, but we'll catch up.
What do you think you need? Of course you need ice time. That's always important. What are the other factors you think you'll need?
I think the most important thing is ice time. The Essex County teams, for the most part, have their home rinks. We only have one rink. West Essex has Totowa, Livingston has this building, Brick has their own, Montclair has their own rink. We all share the same rink.
That must lead to some interesting times when you do practice.
5 a.m., 6 a.m., midnight, 3 in the morning sometimes.
And of course that means you've got dedicated hockey players.
Yes, very.
What are they doing now that your season is over? You're looking, as any coach is, the end of the first of one season is just the beginning of the next season. What are your boys going to be doing?
Well, most of them are still brooding until this game is over. They're disappointed after we eliminated the Gordon Cup champions.
And of course, I think some of them, of course, would think about perhaps going to Canadian ice hockey camps or even here in the States over the summer. Are some of the boys doing that?
I think they're on vacation right now. They're not even thinking about hockey.
It's a tough thing, of course, to come out and have a big victory, then be eliminated from the championship. What do you think lies ahead in this particular game now as we go in with West Essex on top 4-3? Put yourself, if you could, for a second in the shoes of each one of the coaches.
I think Livingston's going to try and tighten it up and play for one break at a time. West Essex is a wide open team. They have to score a lot. They've given up 11 shots and given up 3 goals. We scored 6 and 23 shots on them, and they give up goals and they have to score goals.
Well, we're between periods 2 and 3. West Essex leading the state hockey championship by the score of 4-3 over Livingston. Harvey Cohen, the Chatham Township hockey coach, has been our guest. Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
And we'll be back with period 3 right after this on Suburban Cablevision TV 3. South Mountain Arena, and we are seeing a dilly of a championship game. I'm Bob Lee along with Scott Miller, and well, Scott, what can you say? We had period 1, a 1-0 game, and bang, bang, we come out, and in that second period, we score 6 goals.
West Essex had 4 of them, and that's the story so far. Is West Essex leads Livingston going into the third period by the score of 4-3. Quite a performance by West Essex coming out in that period. They were stopped completely cold in the period number 1 by Livingston goaltender Jim Meesday. They had a little bit better luck in the second period, though.
West Essex, as you see, outshot Livingston 14-8 in the second period, and at this point they hold a 31-11 edge in the shots on goal. Recapping the scoring in the second period, West Essex, Chip Grabowski opened it up with 35 seconds deep, assisted by Foley. Then Smith at the 149 mark. Grabowski's goal, by the way, was a power play. Smith, assisted by McIntosh and Lowhead at 149. Livingston got back and tied matters when Grum at 5:37 was assisted by Grabowski and Levine. Then West Essex took the lead once again at 9:01. Foley assisted by Grabowski and Wright. That's Stan Grabowski of Foley we'll check that out. Chip Grabowski of West Essex assisting Foley, and Stan Grabowski had an assist at 9:56 when Grum scored for Livingston to complete his hat trick. Grabowski and Kelly had assists. Then West Essex, Dave Fashing from Lockhead at 12:09. And that's how we stand.
I think we have to reassure everybody they're not hearing double. There is a Grabowski on each team.
And
Chip for West Essex, Stan for Livingston, and they're not related.
And there are 2 Tracys on Livingston. Penalties in the second. McLaughlin for a cross-check for Livingston at the 16-second mark. Levine and Smith both went off for charging at 3:49. Brian Tracy for a charge for Livingston at 7:18. And Brennan went off with a high stick at 10:09. The penalties in our second period. 15 minutes of hockey. But as we said, should we be tied at the end of regulation, we go to 15 minutes of sudden death overtime. If we're still tied, we go to the shootout, 5 penalty shots aside. After that, it's sudden death shootout. However, that's all academic. It's down now to the last 15 seconds of hockey. A lot of fans watching the action, and a good gathering of hockey partisans on hand here at South Mountain.
I'm impressed with the number of different people from different schools around the area, not just simply West Essex and Livingston. We've been talking about it. We've been mentioning that the hockey fraternity is rather close, and the number of rinks have been proliferating in the New Jersey area lately, and I think the size of this crowd tonight shows that.
Very definitely. Having Harvey Cohen here, whose team isn't even involved, and a lot of Seton Hall players are here, and just a gathering of hockey people on St. Patrick's Day. And by the way, I don't believe we passed along our greetings to everybody for a happy St. Patty's Day. And of course, Livingston in the green. They're wearing the green, but right now they're singing the blues because they're down by a goal. Grabowski will face it off against Levine. And West Essex will skate from left to right, and this is the final period of regulation play in New Jersey this year for high school hockey. This is the championship, the 3rd year. the NJSI AA tournament. And Paul McGinnis drops the puck. Chip Grabowski sends it in, and West Essex picks up where they left off in the second period. As Simons is tied up, but starting out of his end is Rich McLaughlin for the Lancers, trailing by a goal. McLaughlin speeding across the blue line, a nice drop pass. John Beatrice sends it in front. Tip-in attempt, but it was too high. And here come the Knights, just underway. Third period. Grabowski on right wing against Fartelman. Tried to wrap around and was too far deep. Fartelman tries to get to that puck, but Foley beats him to it. It's behind the Livingston net. Now in the corner goes Brian Simons. McLaughlin tries to spring it out again, but the Knights, with Grabowski, or rather Wright, doing the damage, keep it on. The pressure constant by West Essex, but Livingston has made the most of their opportunities this evening. It's 4-3, the Knights on top. McLaughlin almost forgot the puck, and it's loose in mid-ice, and McGinnis sends it, wraps it around to the far side. Foley, fans on it. Beatrice chasing in mid-ice. Fashing leads his line onto the ice now for West Essex. Fashing off the backhand. It's banged off the boards. Oh. And Meesday will cover it up as Fartelman missed it. Little bumping and a few pleasantries exchanged in front of the net.
We've seen Keith Wright on a couple of occasions from his defensive slot for West Essex try to carry the puck up ice himself. The last time he tried it, though, he carried it into the Livingston zone, and Lancer defenseman Brian Simons laid a crunching check on him, knocked Wright flying. This is what I think Livingston's going to have to do in this period, because it's pretty obvious by now that they can't skate with the Knights.
Well, taken by Livingston. Grum at the red line leads a 3-on-4 break, and it's batted out. Back to the blue line. Celia off the boards. Too far for Kevin Kelly. Keith Wright out of his own end. Eludes a would-be check by Grabowski. Keith Wright to the Livingston line. A drop pass, but nobody home on it. Tony Tracy to the near side. Stan Grabowski starts it up. Kept in by Wright. A lot of English on that shot. Lowhead tries to center, and Grum has it now. 2 minutes into our final period. West Essex 4, Livingston 3. Along with Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee for TV3 Sports from South Mountain Arena in West Orange. Tremendous hockey. Fashing. And Meesday takes no chances. Low shot in front. Oh, boy. Meesday must feel like he's got a bullseye on his chest. Not only for the puck, but he has been bumped at or after the whistle most of the game.
That was Cameron Lahead, number 10 for West Essex, and that's the second time in this period that he's gone in on Meesday after the whistle's blown. Quite understandably, the Livingston defense is taking exception to it, and if he keeps it up, I have a feeling that he's going to be called for a penalty.
12:53 in the game. After the game, the presentation of the state championship trophy. Even though it's not a cup, I'm sure it'll get a victory lap by whomever emerges as the victor in this game. Levine and Grabowski on the face. And the Lancers control it. Levine has it poked away in front. McGinnis tried to line up the attempt, but he was too far into the corner. This is Foley on the far side with McLaughlin and Fartelman tying him up, and we'll face it off with 12:39 in the game.
Good play there in the corner by McLaughlin and Fartelman, because if Foley could have gotten free, he had Chip Grabowski all alone in the slot about 20 feet to the left side of goaltender Jim Meesday.
Yep, gets out of the zone all the way down. I think the Lancers had a 7th man on the ice, but nobody saw it. As Tracy scampered over the bench as that puck hit the ice. So no call on the too many men situation. And Simons has it batted back to Fartelman. He'll line it up. Now the Lancers go in and chase it. They'll shoot and chase. It looked like they might have needed a line change, but they just knocked it in there as McGinnis tries the backhand attempt. Beatrice is over with him. Levine and Grabowski tie it up. And a little skate thrown there by Levine as he moved away from that tile up just to make sure that he could skate away unimpeded.
It's probably become apparent by now that by the volume and the nature of the background noise that we are sitting on the West Essex side of the ice. And that's time the fans taking exception to a little bit of skate work by Mr. Levine. I think they had reason to. That's kind of a no-no.
That goes along with the spearing or slashing. You don't like to see too much of that, if any of it. Now Keith Wright starts it up to Grabowski. The co-MVPs, and they spring it ahead. This is Foley on left wing against Shalea. Behind the net, it's loose now as it springs out in front with 11:50 in the game. Chip Grabowski takes an elbow from Whitman, who's onto the ice, and it comes back the other end as Tim McIntosh will chase it down. No icing, it's waved off. Check applied there by Brian Tracy. Livingston trying to keep the pressure on, trying to assert some pressure. As Evan Miles tried to center it, it was tied up, and the Knights get it right on back with 11.5 in the game. Brian Tracy, and now we've got the offsides call. It'll be faced off outside the Livingston blue line with 11:25 in the game.
4-3 the score here at South Mountain Arena. West Essex leading Livingston in this, the finals of the New Jersey State High School Hockey Championship. Face-off upcoming just to the center ice side of the Livingston blue line. It's going to be Mark Levine to take the face-off against Dave Fashing.
Number 2 line for West Essex, the number 1 line for Livingston, and it's sent back in. Pardelman bats it ahead, and the offsides call as Smith carried it in, tried to get back in time. Another face-off upcoming.
Some crunching checks in the corners by Livingston forwards, trying to keep West Essex pinned in their own end. That's what they're going to have to do to stay in the game.
Keith Wright at the red line, which has no application under the rules of this hockey game. Bartleman to the far side. Beatrice going there with number 8, Ken Smith. Off the near side boards. Livingston needs a goal, and Levine looking for that goal. But it's batted out of there by Wright. Lowhead sends it ahead. This is Fashing. Vicious shot, but off the mark. It's kept in. Keith Wright handcuffed Meesday, so he will hold on and get a face-off with 10:50 in the game.
2 more good shots from long range by West Essex. Dave Fashing has showed a good slap shot all night. That one went wide, but it was low along the ice and would have had a good chance of beating the goaltender.
Well, they'll face it off deep in Lancer ice. Both teams change. And Bill Grum will face it with Grabowski. The number 2 line now for the Lancers, the number 1 line for the Knights. That attempt sent in by McGinnis. Still in the end of the Lancers, as Cullum keeps the pressure on. Now Grabowski fighting on the near side with Stan Grabowski. No relation. Number 9 in the white, number 12 in the green. They share the same surname. Grabowski, backhander, and stopped by Meesday. That was Chipper from West Essex with the shot. A nice one, and Meesday covered it up.
That was a tough save by Meesday, because Grabowski, stepping out from the corner, nobody checked him, got off a good backhand shot, picked it up off of the ice. Meesday went down, trying to get his body in front of Grabowski's stick, managed to do so and catch the puck in his glove.
10:27 in the game. Grabowski ridden off, but gets it back. Chip Grabowski, eluding Shalea behind the net, centers it in front. The backhand attempt, Meesday, the initial attempt stopped. McGinnis's rebound is stopped. It's sent back in there by Foley. McGinnis behind the net. It comes to the side, and Meesday says, "Oh, let's get a face-off."
Once again, 2 point-blank saves by Jim Meesday, coming from the stick of Paul McGinnis. Michael McGinnis, rather. Meesday looking good in this period. He has to, with 10 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the third period. West Essex has gotten off 8 shots at the Livingston net, and Livingston hasn't gotten off 1 yet.
Jeff Robbins, the West Essex coach. 10-11 now in the game. Off the face to the near side boards as Grabowski takes a hit from Pardelman. In front, the score by Tom Foley. And it's a 5-3 game. That one coming at the 4:55 mark.
7-9.
Play in the corner. Puck squirted right out in front. Tom Foley skating into the right side of the goaltender. Put the puck into the open net as Meesday didn't quite move over in time. It's a 5-3 hockey game now, and this is the first time that either team has been more than 1 goal ahead.
And I tell you, the West Essex fans appreciate it.
That's Foley's 2nd goal of the night. One of the fans for West Essex getting a little bit over anxious as he threw a hat out onto the ice. Foley needs 1 more goal to get the hat trick, though. Bill Grum for Livingston already has one, as he has the Lancers 3 goals.
Chip Grabowski got the only assist on that at 4:55. So as you observed, Scott, a 2-goal margin. And that means Lancers, as we have the automatic icing call, Lancers have to pull out the stops because they're down now by 2. There are 10 minutes in the game. And Grabowski set that play up neatly to Foley. It was only a matter of time. Meesday was beleaguered in the nets.
Livingston's been playing the body in this third period. Now we'll have to watch very closely to see if the elbows and the sticks start coming up a little bit. 2 goals down, the Lancers might get a little bit frustrated. Play could get kind of chippy.
Well, they may try and draw West Essex into some penalties in their own right, but that remains to be seen. That split save there by Taylor off that one. It was wide to the far side. At mid-ice, it's sent in and chasing goes Lowhead with McLaughlin and now Fartelman. Lowhead. And out the side of the net with 9:40 in the game. It's backhanded out of there, but Levine's clearing attempt is stopped and sent to the far side. Cameron Lahead, and it's taken back by Levine. Bashing got a stick on it. Finally, the Lancers started up. They've got a 2-on-2 if they can hurry it. This is Levine, slapper, and Taylor has it. Whoa. It took him a second look to make sure he had it in the glove, but he does with 9:20 in the game.
Wicked slap shot there by Mark Levine. That puck took a dive just before it reached the goaltender. Taylor had to be alert to get that in his glove.
Here it is on the replay.
Play starting in the Livingston zone. Pass across in West Essex zone to Levine. He takes the shot. It's a quick shot. Good glove save by Taylor. He hasn't looked pretty too often, but he's been effective. He's only given up 3, and his team's ahead by 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would ask that the spectators please refrain.
Off the face-off, Knights have it. A public address announcement being made. Some of the fans really getting into it to the point of throwing objects on the ice. And you never like to see that. Backhander, and Meesday covers it up off the attempt by Grabowski. Never like to see people get involved to that extent because, well, as you know, having played, Scott, it takes one little article on the ice to cause you to slip. And of course, Rod Gilbert had a spinal fusion all because of a hot dime someone threw on the ice.
It's very dangerous. Players can catch a skate, and moving at high speed like that, it's really easy to get injured.
Lancers carry it in the person of Kelly. And those elbows are coming up as Brennan was going in the corner with Kelly. Now going down to the ice, Grabowski, and the Knights get it back. It was Stan Grabowski going down to the ice, and here come the West Essex Knights. Slapper from the outside. Oh, Meesday didn't see it off the stick of Mike McGinnis. To the far side, Foley chases it down against Kelly, and the drop for Fartelman. The headman pass bumping over the ice, and here comes Grum with 3 goals already. Wrist shot off the glass. Chip Grabowski, nice deke on a near attempt at backing it all the way out, and finally Taylor falls on it. Grabowski made like he was going to slap it on the backhand, but just controlled the puck. 8:25 in the game.
For West Essex, 10 shots on goal in this third period. Livingston has had but 2. West Essex is leading now by the score of 5-3. Both teams changing up.
The scoring in this period, the only goal by Foley. Tom Foley at 4:55, assisted by Chip Grabowski to give West Essex the lead at 5-3, which they currently have. Kept in by Fartelman. The attempt fanned on it in the slot. And it's taken back by Keith Wright as that attempt is set up there by Brian Tracy. Bashing overskates it. And here comes Brian Tracy, the junior centerman of the third line. Wrist in the slot is no good. The rebound is no good. Covered up very neatly by Cullum. Cullum going on the far side. Mixing it up with Evan Miles. The third line on now for Livingston in a face-off at 7:47 in the game.
2-on-2 break for Livingston. I think Brian Tracy would have been better off passing it over. He had Evan Miles skating in on the right wing. Miles could have had an open shot. Instead, Tracy elected to take it himself, and he was played off very neatly by the West Essex defense.
And Paul McGinnis just asking some of our spectators to please move away from the glass. And he's enlisting the help of one of our gendarmes this evening. Want those goal judges to go about their work unobstructed, and also possibility of someone pressing their nose up to the glass and walking away with a bloody stump of a nose. McIntosh off that face, ridden into the boards. Also over there, McGinnis tying it up, and will face it off deep in West Essex ice. And right now it would have to be a very serious call for a penalty, especially against Livingston.
I think McGinnis and Hanneback have done a good job all night. They really haven't called the real minor infractions. They've let the players play.
Off the face, Levine tried to get it off in the slot. The backhander, now Levine chases it down. McIntosh chasing him. And McIntosh finally starts it back in the point. Fartelman keeps it in, loses his glove in the attempt, and it goes all the way back down the other way. This will be icing with 7:22 in the game. 5-3 West Essex leading Livingston.
Shouldn't be much of a surprise to see West Essex do this a little bit more from here on in, nursing a 2-goal lead. They may just be content to simply take the puck and flip it out of their own zone. They've been able to carry it out with pretty good success most of the night, but sitting on the lead, they may just elect to shoot it down the ice.
Knights take that face-off, but it flips into the rink, out of the rink, I believe, and we'll get a new puck into play.
Tim McIntosh was shooting for the Stars that time. Instead, he found the 5th row.
And anybody is fair game in this house for a flying puck. We had one about 4 rows down in the first period. We, of course, didn't buy the deke as that backhander in front is stopped on the attempt by John Beatrice. Alertly, Brian Taylor went down. As they try and keep it in, Tracy's attempt is batted out the other way. And now Rich McLaughlin at his own line. To Tracy, back to McLaughlin. Keith Wright with Rich McLaughlin on him. McLaughlin got a stick on it. There's Cullum fighting with Levine. But the point is Tracy tries to keep it in. Levine through the crease. To the far side, it's batted away. Here comes Grabowski. 2-on-1 developing. Grabowski. And Foley's attempt stopped by Measday in front. Measday is down. Now he's back up. McIntosh, his shot is no good, and it's knocked out. Kept back in. And now Fartelman for the Lancers. The pressure kept on by West Essex. 6:20 in the game. 5-3, the Knights on top. Grabowski sends it in, and now West Essex wants to change their line, and they'll get that much done. As Tony Tracy, number 21, starts out. It's taken right back by Ken Smith. And now Dave Bashing, number 20. Tracy for Livingston. Around the board. Now we've got a penalty call. Delayed call. The Lancers will get the extra skater on. We won't have a whistle until now. West Essex touches the puck, and it will come at the 9:06 mark of the 3rd period. And they'll pick up the official call.
I believe it's going to be Cameron Lahead for a charge. We'll have to wait for the call. We'll have that for you right now.
10 on a charge.
Charging is the call on Lahead.
And as you can tell, not a very popular one. Although it was a good call. Lahead obviously going into the corner after the man. And that's the type of thing they had to call.
Number 10, Cameron Lahead. A minute and a half for charging.
On the replay, let's take a look at that last save.
2-on-1 break, a quick shot by Foley. Measday managed to fall down on the puck, couldn't control it, but Livingston eventually shot it out.
Well, a power play opportunity for Livingston for the next 90 seconds. There goes Grum. Grum back to the point to Fartelman. 5.5 in the game. And now Levine takes it back. McLaughlin to the blue line. 1-on-4. So he circles for some room and comes back out of the zone with 58 seconds now in the penalty. West Essex 5, Livingston 3. Lahead went off for charging, and he still has 50 seconds on that penalty to the point. Now Fartelman will try and set it up to the corner. McLaughlin over there along with Kevin Kelly on the power play attempt, and now Grabowski slips down. One of the few miscues he's had all evening. Taken back. There goes Grum. Wright blocked that centering pass beautifully. It's sent into Grum. His attempt knocked down. It skitters to the outside, and now Taylor gets a stick on it. Sent back in by Levine to the far side as Kelly back to Fartelman in front. Oh, Taylor, the save. The backhand by Grum is behind the net. 6 seconds on the penalty. Opportunities galore for both members of the power play front line for Livingston. Back to the other end. The penalty expires. We're at equal strength. Lohead, who's out of the box, almost got that puck. Now Fashing. And the Lancers have it back in the person of McLaughlin with 4:10 in the game. Wind up in the shot. Taylor with the save. Nice attempt taken by Kevin Kelly outside, who's seeing more ice time here in the 3rd period. Kept into the zone by Tracy on the backhand. Kelly going with Keith Wright, and Taylor takes no chances. 3:54 in the game.
You have to say, Brian Taylor has flopped, he's staggered, he's stumbled around, and he's stopped hockey pucks. He's been a money goaltender tonight, and just in these last couple of minutes, he has been the reason that West Essex has maintained their 2-goal lead. Some impressive goaltending by Brian Taylor.
5 skaters aside. And we've got 3 minutes and 54 seconds remaining. Right now, the goal that's been the difference was Fashing's at 12:09 of the second period with Lohead on the assist. That put West Essex on top 4-3. Foley has scored in this period with an assist from Chip Grabowski, but right now Livingston down by 2 goals. That puck almost out of the rink, but it's kept in. And here comes Mike McGinnis. There's Foley on the far side. Ooh, tried to jump over Shalea's near check. And here comes Livingston trailing by 2 goals with 3.5 in the game. Too far intended for Whitman. He flies down as the puck is picked up by West Essex, and they start out of their own end. But now we've got a whistle. And I think we're going to check on the condition of Scott Whitman, the sophomore, who went flying into the near side boards. We've got 3:21 in the game. West Essex leading 5-3. Whitman, I believe, right, we're going for a puck. And Scott.
Looked like Scott lost his balance out there. He came flying in looking for it and just perhaps was a little bit nudged, but primarily lost his balance on his own. Went into the corner hard. He was screened from us as the boards obstructed our view. Perhaps from the sound of it, he might have hit his head.
Well, everybody, of course, wears the helmets.
We ask that at the conclusion of tonight's game, you please remain in your seats.
And of course, they also not only have the helmet, but the face masking made famous by Victor Tretiak, a Russian goaltender. And the announcement made that after the game, they'll be awarding the state championship trophy. That, of course, met by vigorous applause by the West Essex partisans, but it's not over by any stretch. We have seen amazing goals in this game on just one foray up the ice, especially for Livingston. 3:21, and it's a 5-3 game.
There's West Essex coach Ed Purdy. Just a moment ago, he was actually out on the ice, pointing to the clock, gesturing and screaming to his players. I think he's perhaps the most excited man down there on that bench for West Essex. He can taste a state championship.
Jeff Robbins, head coach at West Essex, and you're right. West Essex very close right now, but Livingston, which was a finalist last year in the state hockey tournament and also won the Gordon Cup last year and has been a hockey power in New Jersey, in North Jersey, in the North Jersey Scholastic Hockey League for a number of years. And the Lancers have quite a heritage that they perhaps can draw on. They rushed the medical kit out onto the ice, and now we have someone else in civilian clothes going out, maybe someone to offer some attendance there to Scott Whitman. So we will return with more hockey with 3:21 in the final period after this word on TV3. While we were away, Scott Whitman was taken off the ice. He skated from the corner where he fell. They helped him over on his skates to the Livingston bench, and from there he was taken off horizontally on a stretcher and with a bandage around his forehead. Perhaps, we don't like to speculate, it looked like over the eye is where he did catch the full run of whatever happened to him.
I think since we were screened, we didn't get the chance to see it, but what I believe happened is as he went into the corner, his helmet somehow must have come off, and he literally went face first into the boards.
But he was conscious as he left, and Scott, a sophomore with 3 goals and 5 assists, and we certainly hope it's nothing too serious. I hope he's back on his feet very shortly. West Essex leading 5-3 with 3:15 in the state hockey championships from South Mountain Arenas. Along with Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee for TV3 Sports. And the Knights in the white, the Lancers in the green. And Measday will stop it for 21 Tony Tracy. And West Essex doing a little forechecking, even though they're up by 2 goals with 3 minutes in the game. Sent right back in by Ken Smith, and Measday will leave it for Fartelman. So if Livingston gets a chance, they're going to have to work for it. Levine behind the backer, and it's too far for Beatrice. Levine keeps it into the zone, but now Grabowski will clear it. Levine, but he carried it in as Grabowski did get it out. And now we've got 2.5 in the game.
Bob, I'd have to believe that that layoff will help West Essex more than it would Livingston. The defensive team in a situation like this generally needs that rest a little bit more, and I'm sure that West Essex coach Robbins was glad to have the rest, certainly not wanting to see a player injured, but didn't mind the fact that he could give his troops a few extra minutes.
Off the face between Fashing and Grum. Lancer sends it in. Oh, kick save. Nice one by Taylor. And back to mid-ice. Lancers will try and regroup with 2:20 in the game, but the pressure is kept on by the Knights. And now Shalea out of his own end. Backhand to Grum, and he will send it in, but Keith Wright lifts it all the way, knocked down at mid-ice by Shalea and sent back in by Tracy. There goes Stan Grabowski. Tried to poke it in, but Taylor blocked his way. Looked like a wraparound, and he went to the forehand with less than 2 now in the game. Kelly looking for it, but the Knights started out. And we'll have to keep an eye and see if Meesday will wander out of that crease, but right now he will have no opportunity to do that. Tracy starts it up, and Meesday looking to inch out of that goal so Livingston can get another skater on the ice, but the Knights will not let Livingston have that opportunity. Scott, they're playing a good forechecking game. Grum a slapper wide off the top of the boards between the board and the glass. Grum sends it out. Meesday is off the ice. They've got the extra skater on. Empty net opportunity for West Essex. That ought to clinch it. And it's 6-3. And the empty netter for Dave Fashing, and for all intents and purposes, that is the state hockey championship. 13:41 the time of the goal.
20 from 8.
Pulling the goaltender is always a gamble. Sometimes it pays off. This time it didn't. Dave Fashing got a clear shot as he went sailing along the left wing, carried the puck into the Livingston zone, and then just softly tapped it into the open net. It's 6-3 here at the South Mountain Arena. The West Essex fans are all standing on this side of the ice. As Bob mentioned, that should just about do it.
Smith picked up an assist on the empty netter, so we've got 79 seconds to play. And the Knights own a 3-goal lead. And it looks like the State High School Hockey Championship will reside at West Essex High School in North Caldwell. And the Gordon Cup, of course, symbolic of supremacy in North Jersey. The North Jersey Scholastic League has already been taken by the Prep, Seton Hall Prep of South Orange. So Essex County, a bumper crop of trophies this year in high school hockey.
We've still got 1 minute and 19 seconds to play in this game. Paul McGinnis at center ice getting ready to drop the puck between Chip Grabowski and Mark Levine.
And the Knights take that face. Number 5 is Peter Brennan, and it's sent all the way into the Livingston end. And Tracy, number 21. Well, Livingston, with a season that has had ups and downs. West Essex with the better record coming into this game. That one by Levine off the glass. And we're in the last minute of the season for New Jersey high school hockey. Keith Wright tries to slither it up the boards, and they get it ahead to Grabowski. 46 seconds as Grabowski with Fartelman on him, and it's sent right back in by Doug Campbell in front. Meesday looking, and Fartelman starts it back up. 35 seconds now in the game. This is Tony Tracy. Taken to the boards. That one stopped by Taylor.
And that should be just about the icing on the cake. A good glove save by Taylor, hanging in as Petrus took the wrist shot. It was tricky. Seemed to stale just before it got to the goaltender. Taylor stayed with it, and the game should end by the score of 6-3 in 27 seconds.
6-3 is the score. It's all over. But the cheering.
And there'll be plenty of that.
Oh, I can assure you of that. West Essex High School. Regional High School. Essex, Fells, Roseland, North Caldwell. And that one in front stopped by Brian Taylor, along with Fairfield, the communities that...
A roar going up from the crowd as perhaps the smallest player, definitely the smallest player on both teams for West Essex, number 3, Randy McAdam, a freshman, goes out for his first turn on the ice.
And McAdam will take the face-off. Well, 24 seconds in the game. And McAdam gets some ice time in a high school championship game. Fartelman sweeps it away for McAdam with 15 seconds in the game. Wind up in the shot. Taylor watches it. The shot taken by Evan Miles. McLaughlin, and the countdown by the West Essex fans. Kick save, nice one by Taylor off the attempt by Miles. And the champagne will be flowing And West Essex High School hockey land tonight. St. Patrick's Day, but the team that wore the green came out second best. 6-3 the final. West Essex, the champions of New Jersey hockey. We'll be back with the recap on the trophy presentation in just a moment. Down to the ice and Ralph Dugan, our tournament director.
On behalf of the New Jersey State Athletic Association, we're very proud to win the first West Essex Hockey Championship.
And the presentation to West Essex and the co-captains, the gentlemen who were the co-most valuable players in the North Jersey Hockey League. Number 14, Keith. Number 9, Chip Grabowski. The co-captains lead the traditional victory lap around this rink. And what a game and what a fantastic effort by West Essex.
This is the championship of the New Jersey State High School hockey. But the way these players are carrying on, you think it was the Stanley Cup they just won. They earned it. There's really not that much more you can say.
They're going to skate it around to the near side. You'll hear it in a second as they come to the home stands. We were here a year ago, almost to the day, when the Lancers took the Gordon Cup. This is the State High School Championship, and it tastes very good, as you can see. And for Grabowski and Wright, two of the best players in New Jersey this year, they're going to check it out. They want to read it, make sure it says the right thing. To recap that third period, Fashing with an empty net goal at 13:41. Foley from Grabowski at 4:55. Other scores in the game, Grum in the first period for Livingston at 13:02, unassisted, a length of the floor scramble, a length of the ice scramble. And Grabowski for West Essex, Smith, Grum, Foley, Grum, and Fashing. Penalties in that third period. Lohead for charging at 9:06. And I must say, Scott, a very fantastic game and a very pleasurable experience to be able to work this game with you.
Thank you, Bob. Same.
And that should just about do it here from South Mountain Arena. The finals in the hockey tournament to decide the champions of New Jersey, West Essex 6 and Livingston 3. So for Scott Miller, I'm Bob Lee reminding you, we'll see you again right here on TV3.